vaccinated families may be allowed to travel interstate. The world must prepare for the socio-economic transition post-COVID-19. Good evening and thanks for joining us. You're watching News at 10. I'm Mohammed Amin Carlos. Well, long-distance couples and parents who have received both doses of their COVID-19 vaccine shots may be allowed to travel interstate to meet their families when a relaxation of restrictions is announced in due course. Deputy Prime Minister Dato Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said the flexibility to allow long-distance families to meet was among matters being considered for those who have been fully vaccinated. In an update on his Facebook page today, Dato Seri Ismail Sabri said he felt concerned and has taken note of netizens' laments over the interstate travel restriction that has taken a toll on relationships of couples and parents who have been separated from their children. Well, he said he knows how important the family institution is and how it affects lives in society. The Deputy Premier is also of the opinion that parents should not be separated from their children for too long. While previously Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said the easing of restrictions for individuals who have been fully vaccinated against COVID-19 would soon be decided at the National Recovery Council meeting. COVID-19 Immunization Task Force, or CITF, has clarified that no vaccine appointments will be given to adolescents aged between 12 to 17. In a statement, it said this despite many teenagers having already registered in the MySejahtera system. Well, the CITF explained that the main priority of the National COVID-19 Immunization Program, also known as PICK, is to complete Phase 2 and enhance the implementation of Phase 3. It said the government decided not to inoculate the adolescents, including Sijil Pelajaran Malaysia candidates, to avoid incidents of side effects such as heart inflammatory cases as reported in the United States. However, for those who have reached the legal age of 18, vaccination is allowed according to the appointments given. The CITF added that any further decision regarding vaccination date for this group will be announced from time to time. Well, Bukit Aman Commercial Crime Investigation Department, CCID, has received a total of 4 reports of scamming activities related to COVID-19 vaccine. While 3 of the reports are related to the sale of vaccine, while the other is related to a case of insufficient vaccines for recipients at a vaccination center, or PPV. Well, according to CCID Director Dato Muhammad Kamarudin Madin, a total of 8 individuals were detained to assist into the investigation. However, he said all of them were released on police bail and one of the cases has been solved. So Dato Muhammad Kamarudin added that police also discovered a new modus operandi to scam more victims. He explained that the victims would be contacted by a syndicate claiming to be personnel from the Health Ministry, who would then ask the victims to pay a fine following their involvement in vaccine selling activities. Well, he said the victims who buy then would panic, would follow the instructions given and end up making transactions to an account given by the syndicate. A total of 38 cases were reported involving loss of 54,500 ringgit, and members of the public are advised to be wary of such scamming tactics. Well, phase 2 of the construction industry vaccination program, or CVAC, will begin on 5th August, involving 55,000 construction workers in Pulau Pinang and Johor. And Senior Works Minister Datuk Seri Fadil Yusof said the registration for the vaccination was open on 12 July with 30,000 slots allocated for workers in Pulau Pinang and 25,000 in Johor. In a statement, he said all slots in Johor are now fully booked, while the registration in Pulau Pinang is still ongoing, as only 22,800 slots were booked so far. Well, he said the registration for CVAC was expected to be open for 20,000 construction workers in Pahang from 25th July and for another 20,000 workers in Sabah from 31st July. Well, Datuk Seri Fadila said phase 1 of CVAC began on 1st July in Kuala Lumpur and Selangor, targeting 40,000 local and foreign construction workers. He said as of 20th July, more than 24,000, or about 60% of workers registered under the program, had received their first dose of COVID-19 vaccine. Well, next of kin of individuals who have died from the COVID-19 disease can submit applications for the COVID-19 Death Management Special Assistance Program. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Special Functions, Datuk Seri Mohammad Rezwan Mat Yusof, said applicants will receive aid of 5,000 ringgit, which could help alleviate financial burden of the immediate family members. Explaining further, he said the program managed by the National Disaster Management Agency, NADMA, has so far received 1,500 applications.
Saya nak menyuruh kepada semua yang mengalami ataupun kehilangan waris yang akibat datang kepada NADMA. Kita ada talian-talian untuk kita memberi maklum balas, hotline dan sebagainya, untuk kita menghulurkan bantuan secepat mungkin. Saya cadangkan mereka datang ke depan untuk kepada NADMA. APM sekalipun, Angkatan Pertahanan Awam akan menyelaraskan senarai itu untuk kita salurkan bantuan itu.
Well, former Youth and Sports Minister Zihara Abdulrahman has been charged with criminal breach of trust involving 1 million ringgit belonging to Parti Pribumi Bersatu Malaysia. However, he pleaded not guilty after the charges were read before Judge Azura Alwi. Well, according to the first charge framed under Section 403 of the Penal Code, Syed Zadig was accused of misappropriating 1 million ringgit of the party fund on 6th March last year. He, who is also the Member of Parliament for Muar, was also charged with misappropriating 120,000 ringgit from the party's election coffers in April 2018. Well, the court then set bail for the accused at 330,000 ringgit for both charges and instructed the former minister to surrender his passport and report himself at the nearest Malaysian Anti-Corruption Agency, the MACC office, once every month. The case is set for remention on 10th September. Well, over in Pulau Pinang, an Indonesian woman was fined a total of 14,000 ringgit by the Georgetown Magistrates Court after she pleaded guilty to 2 counts of using fake Malaysian identity cards. The accused, Zihara Toong, committed the offence from 24th June to 12 July in Georgetown. Magistrate Armanumani ordered her to pay a fine of 6,000 ringgit in lieu of 3 months jail for the first charge under Section 25, Subsection 1, Subsection E of the National Registration Regulations 1990. Zihara then admitted to the second charge of possessing a fake My Card, which she used as her identification document. For this offence, she was fined 8,000 ringgit in default of 4 months jail. Coming up, Jana Niaga financing allocation expected to reach 1.2 billion ringgit. Well, the world should not lose sight of the challenges that climate change poses, despite having to face yet other challenges brought about by the pandemic. The Prime Minister, Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin, said this is because climate change is showing signs that could have long-lasting impact and threats on social well-being, economic development, as well as on global health. Speaking during the virtual launching ceremony of the International Green Tech and Eco Products Exhibition and Conference Malaysia, Igem 2021 today, he said Malaysians must be mindful of sustaining the environment in all their social and economic ventures while fighting against the COVID-19 pandemic.
The pandemic has given a fresh impetus for all of us to play a role in sustainability agenda. Moving forward, I'm pleased the Igem will be hosting the Strategic Lab Visioning a Hydrogen Economy for Malaysia to explore the potential role of hydrogen in the country's energy mix and how it can contribute to rebuilding our economy. This session will be led by a panel of international and local experts. I welcome the efforts of Malaysian companies to establish collaborations on technology and knowledge sharing within the hydrogen ecosystem, commercializations, and green technologies.
The Premier also assured that the government will continue to adopt a whole-of-nation approach to ensure its policies are clear and conducive for a sustainable economic development. Meanwhile, Minister of Environment and Water, Datuk Seri Tuan Ibrahim Tuan Man, said Igem 2021 aimed to host 300 exhibitor booths, attract 30,000 visitors and generate over 5 billion ringgit in business leads. The event has taken a different approach this year, where it would be held for 6 months from 1st July to 31st December, as compared to 1 week previously, with a different focus theme set each month.
Igem juga menawarkan platform kepada semua peserta untuk menyertai lebih 50 agenda persidangan, webinar dan pameran. Kami turut menampilkan ramai peneraju industri dan pakar di pelbagai bidang di peringkat nasional dan antarabangsa. Ia akan berkongsi pengetahuan dalam segmen-segmen yang menarik seperti ekonomi kitaran, ekonomi hidrogen, kelestarian tenaga dan analisa data raya.
The minister is also optimistic that the event, to be run 24 hours a day, would play an effective role as the leader of sustainability agenda in the country, as well as putting Malaysia on the right track to drive low-carbon development plans and reduce the impact of climate change. The allocation for the National Supply Chain Finance Platform, Jana Niaga, is expected to reach 1.2 billion ringgit, with the additional allocation from financial institutions which will participate in phases. Finance Minister Datuk Seri Tengku Zafrul Abdul Aziz said to ensure the financing assistance could be extended to the SMEs immediately, an allocation of 300 million ringgit has been provided by Export-Import Bank of Malaysia Berhad Igem Bank to kickstart Jana Niaga. He said Jana Niaga, led by Igem Bank with the participation of several other financial institutions in Malaysia, would benefit the SMEs that are experiencing cash flow problems following a longer invoice payment period, besides facilitating them in obtaining loans.
Dengan purata tempoh invoice selama 90 hari, jumlah ini akan bakal menyumbang sebanyak 4.8 bilion ringgit setahun kepada kecairan tunai PKS.
In his speech at the virtual launch of the Jana Niaga platform today, Tengku Zafrul said at the initial stage, Jana Niaga will be implemented together with Petronas and Telekom Malaysia Berhad. Tengku Zafrul said the financing applications, which are also required to be made online, would enable the applications to be approved within 24 hours. The Malaysian Automotive Association, MAA, has revised downwards its 2021 total industry volume, or TIV, forecast by 5.6% to 500,000 units compared to 570,000 units projected in January 2021, following the current economic and environmental factors. President Dato' Aisha Ahmad said the amendment of the forecast were made after taking many factors into consideration. She said among the factors involved were the assumption on the government's directive that automotive plants, distribution centres and sales showrooms are only allowed to reopen in Phase 3 of the National Recovery Plan, or NRP.
In view of the above economic and environmental factors, we have revised our industry forecast for 2021 as shown. Basically, for 2021, we have revised the volume, total industry volume, to 500,000. Commercial vehicles is 46,000, so making 500,000. And last projection for 2021 was 570,000 units, which is minus 5.6%.
During a virtual press conference in the first half of 2021, Motor Traders and Manufacturers Performance Today, she said MAA had sent several appeals to the government to allow the sector to reopen sales and assembly operations with tight standard operating procedures, with at least 60% of workers being allowed to work. Another factor that has influenced MAA's decision to revise its forecast is consumers' sentiment, which is expected to continue to remain weak. Well, that concludes this evening's News at 10. In our top story, fully vaccinated families may be allowed to travel interstate. Well, folks, do join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. I'm Muhammad Amin Carlos. Stay tuned to Saluran Berita RTM and have a pleasant evening. Take care.